I represent the Yay area.
Everybody has a dilemma. Not everyone wants a solution, though. Welcome back to the Dilemma of a Good One. This platform isn't built on shock value. We're not here to be messy. We're not chasing viral moments. There are enough spaces out there that replay chaos and controversy all over the place. This right here is a space for clarity. We talk about real dilemmas, the kind that people wrestle with when the cameras are off, the pride, the pressure, the confusion, and the hard decisions. And we don't just sit in the problem, we move toward the solution. So because our growth is an outlier, it certainly is intentional. And what we deal with here is real people with real dilemmas, with real conversation and real solutions. So today's conversation is about the environment and what it takes for a man to evolve beyond it. And we have Ma James of, I believe, of Compton, California, Southern California to be exact. Well-known, well-respected, has been around the world and back, and definitely has a story to tell. So it's actually a privilege and it's a pleasure. And I believe it's going to be a blessing to have you on the platform. So I want to welcome you in, man.
Appreciate it. Glad to be here.
That's right. So let's start at the beginning. There's some environments they raise you, and some environments they test you. But let's talk about what that looked like in your life. And first of all, let's do this. Let's give a shout out to B-Boy. I call him BC, from the Bay to LA and to Detroit. And he corrected me. He said it's actually from the Bay to Compton. But a lifelong friend of mine, man, and it's somebody you met. You want to share how y'all cross paths with one another?
Well, he's from my neighborhood, and when he left Compton, I was out of contact with him for a while, and then I started the Gangsta Chronicles, and we linked back up. He always been a good dude, a youngster that acted like a grown man back then. He before his time, and you can tell that he a good cat because everybody fucks with him. I'm talking about on both sides. Everybody deal with him. So that tells you, what type of cat he is. Good people.
Most definitely mature beyond his years. And some of the people that I saw him hang out with, I was like, man, what's y'all connection? And he explained it, and it just made perfect sense. Basically, the same way that you just said it. So, again, shout out to B-Boy, also known as BC. If you know, you know. So let's start off like this, man. What's the difference between LA and Compton? Because he mentioned that as a difference. So why don't you walk us through that and tell us what it was like growing up there?
Well, I had the privilege of living in LA and in Compton.
Okay.
I was kicked out of school at an early age, the third grade to be exact, in Compton. So I had to go to my grandfather's house in LA. And, the guys in LA, everybody is pretty much the same. You're going to run into the same cats. Compton, LA, Watts, wherever you go. But some dudes are just on different levels. And some cats you can fuck with, some cats you can deal with, some you can't. It's really no difference between none of the sets. Everything you have in one hood, you had in the other. Same thing is going on. So I really can't say there's a difference, because you had the gang members, you had the gang bangers, you had the ones that were living in the hood, which we call guilty by association. And you just had the regular cats that wanted to go to school and whatever. So everybody was on a different, what I call different pay grade. Me, myself, I was a gang banger, out there living it, looking for it, accepted what came to me the whole nine. Like the majority of those were in these different neighborhoods. So it all depends on that guy you ran into, So the hoods ain't no different. It's all the same shit.
Yeah. And when you say you accepted it, that's more like a accountability type of a deal, right? Like you took accountability for what you did Where do you think that stemmed from? Like, did you have a role model in your life? Like you mentioned your grandfather. Um, but let's just say let's start at home first. Did you have like your father in your home with you, or what would you say that came from?
I had a father. My father didn't teach me nothing but how to be violent. By the abuse I got from him. I hate talking about it. I had a father in the home, but I didn't have a father in the home. He didn't do nothing but kick my ass. So it made me aggressive. It made me angry. I had a point to prove. I wanted to prove the point. I wouldn't allow another individual to treat me the way my father treated me. Kim, give me the light. So all of my shit came from what I learned in the house, what I received in the house. And, it was 5 kids, but I got the worst end of every situation. So I was angry. I was ready to hurt people and did that at a young age. I'm getting kicked out of school in the 3rd grade, taking butcher knives to stab motherfuckers.
Wow.
I was in the 3rd grade, wasn't having it. I wasn't finna let y'all beat me up. I wasn't finna accept that. So going to LA, I would get kicked out of school every Wednesday. I don't know why, but it was always a fight. And the guys over there were all Crips, but in the 3rd grade, we wasn't living like that. We were we grew up. And once we got into junior high, everybody started to identify. They started looking at themselves as this, that, or the other. Me, I'm back in Compton, so being around my people, meaning Parus, and then going back to 81st and Hooper with the kitchen grips, you can't tell me you're going to be one or the other. No, I am who I am. I'm from where I'm from. We grew up together, but when those guys broke that tie, I attacked. Me and my brothers, the homies, we attacked those cats. And back and forth for a long time. So, but pretty much my father would come from the motorcycle set and wake me up and whoop my ass. He didn't care if he had a stick, a bat. He'd bust my head wide open a couple, were in 2 different spots. Busted nose. So every time he did me, it was just like, I'm gonna get you. And that's how I felt. And it wasn't until I shot my little brother, I think I was 13, 14, when I shot my little brother, he moved. He got the fuck out of there. He was like, these who got guns in my house? I left and went to the homeboy house and spent the night over there. That morning, he moved out. He moved out. I truly believe that it would have came a day, if he'd have stayed there, he'd have paid for what he did. You feel me?
Man, that's a lot to unpack there. That's a lot. So, stop me while I go off track. At a young age, you dealt with an abusive father, and then you going out to school and everything. So, probably because this person is much bigger than you, you felt like you couldn't do nothing to him, but you lashed out on people, your peers and stuff like that, right? You know what I mean? Maybe it was respect for adults, that kind of thing. So, anybody that's your age group or around you, they can get it though. You know what I mean? Was that some of that anger that you had towards your dad that you took out on others, or would you say that that's where it came from?
Well, a lot of the things that he did to me, I ain't gonna say I got used to the pain, and I had to inflict pain on others as I received it. If I didn't think that I was getting my money's worth, I would do something outrageous and I tried my best to hurt. I used to carry a half a bat. I used to carry knives. I don't care what I had or how I did it. I had to hurt you bad. And some of my homeboys would look at me like, what the fuck wrong with you? You know what I'm saying? But I don't know. It was just here in the head that I had to hurt people. And it didn't matter. It didn't matter. Then when I started drinking, my violence went up, like to the top. I would get drunk and anybody random, I didn't care who it was. I just had to be violent.
Wow. So you also said that, I think what you just gave us as well was the definition of being born in it and not sworn in it. You know what I mean? Because me being from the Bay Area, we didn't have Crips and Blood gangs, but you know, I don't know if it's much different in the Bay as far as the neighborhoods are basically a clique or a set. You know what I mean? And it's named after the neighborhood. And a lot of those people are born in it. But what we heard out of LA is that there's a lot of people who are jumped in and that kind of thing. That wasn't your path though. You was born in it, and once you became of age, that's who you was, right? I believe you mentioned Pyru. Am I right?
Right.
Yeah.
When I really started hanging with the homies and getting involved in that, I wish a motherfucker would try to jump me in, tell me I need to be jumped in. I'd have did something to everybody. We didn't have that hood day shit. We didn't have that 5 niggas jumping on one. No, we didn't have that. I ain't never saw that. Never. And, you know, sometimes I took my aggression out on some of the homies. You know, those that I called gang members. I took my frustration out on those that was just in the hood, you know, playing and acting like they was gang bangers, gang members. Mm-hmm. And it ain't happening. And, you know, I believed everybody had a price to pay when it came to gang banging and living that life. And some guys can sit in the hood and sell their drugs all day. And if somebody come through the neighborhood and shooting and they get one of them get shot, I had a reason. Go ahead.
I was listening to you. You had a reason to.
Yeah, and if something happened to those that are just guilty by association, we had a responsibility to go right back and handle business. But then I was mad at them because they hanging out getting shot. And I'm putting my life on the line for a motherfucker that really didn't represent that power rule. So, you know, some of them I robbed, took, you know, for their drugs or whatever. But I had nothing but anger in my life. And I showed it. I showed it. I didn't care.
Yeah. Well, here's the part that kind of gripped me is because you were raised differently from me. You know, you had your mother and your father present. I didn't have my dad live with me. I had access to him. I could call him and I'd probably go stay with him like 3 or 4 times a year for like a weekend or whatnot. You know, he was always cool. Him and my mother was always cool, but he was never there with me. And then I was the only child as well. You know what I'm saying? So the thought was, as an only child, was that life would be or could be better if I had brothers and or sisters, and especially if my dad was around. My grandfather was the father figure in my life when I was around him. You know what I mean? So I could definitely relate to that. But here's one thing, the elephant in the room. You spoke about one of your first violent moments in your life with your brother. Without glorifying him, man, what did that teach you about the consequences? And maybe you could tell a little bit about the story of how that happened, how you came to the point where you shot your little brother.
I was out had me and my homeboys. I had like 4 or 5 guns at the time, and I'm only 14, 13 or 14, 13, 12.
You're young.
Yeah, I'm trying to go down the ladder. My little brother was 9, 10 years old. So if he was 10, I was 14. 10, I was 13. So I'm out in the street. We walking to different little places in the stores, and looking for gang members and shit, looking for other people to fuck with, and come back. And when I went to put the pistols up, 2 of them were missing. And I go outside looking for Timmy for those 2 pistols.
Your little brother, Timmy. Okay.
And him and his little partner playing across the street on some cops and robbers bullshit.
Yeah.
I took 1 pistol from the little dude Durkee, and then I took the pistol from Timmy. And then I said, what if it was a bullet and I'm squeezing the trigger in his face? Pop! And I shot him. And the bullet went in his nose, in his mouth, and he spit the bullet out with his back tooth. It was stuck in his back teeth, and he spit the bullet out. I freaked out because I thought I just killed my little brother, my baby brother. So I take the gun, I'm beating the gun with a brick. My mom's and I'm gonna say pops, they come out and they take Timmy to the house, call the ambulance, the whole thing. I bounced.
Yeah.
My brother Alton tell me he want me to come to the house. So I grabbed my pistol. If he'd have tried to do something to me, I don't know what would have happened. But I wouldn't get no more ass whoopings. I wouldn't get beat up no more. So that morning he was gone. He left. Tried to sell the house, tried to do all that.
Talk about your dad.
Yeah. It was a good thing for me, man, because I was in a cross from, if I kill my pops, my sister, my mother, and my brother's gonna hate me.
All of
You know what I'm saying? So the thought of doing that to him, I knew I couldn't. What happens if I go to jail type shit? And I didn't do it. And he moved on, he did his thing, he came back many years later, wanted to apologize. Okay, we good. You know what I'm saying? He drove back to Texas and he passed away.
Oh, okay. What year was this? What year was this? Your dad passed away?
He passed away right before my brother, 98. Okay. No, 99. He passed away in 99.
Okay. So your brother Timmy? Your brother Timmy lived, right?
Timmy's still alive. My brother Montreal passed away in 2002.
Okay, yeah, I heard of Bunty. I'm sure we're going to talk about him in just a moment. But this is what I want to ask you. Okay, so your little brother lived through that, and your father, obviously, he know, okay, I ain't playing with no little kids no more. This one ain't no joke. So your dad left home, though. Let me ask you this, though. Between that day when you shot your brother up until the day that your dad passed away, with your brother and with your dad, was there ever a lesson in forgiveness along the way?
With my little brother, yes.
Okay.
With Pops, nothing he could have said that would have made me feel like, Pops, we good, I love you. Or me uttering those words to him. He did me. No parent should treat their kids the way my parents treated me, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
My mother, I forgave my mother. And it wasn't until I went to prison I had enough time to think about forgiving her. Where was she when he was beating me with high heel shoes, was beating me with razor belts, stitching cords, whatever was in his path, in his way, or was right in front of him, he used it. Some couple times she sat on the edge of the bed and watched it. You know, where was my mama? So after that, my mama became every bitch, every hoe, fuck you, bitch, you ain't got, fuck you. I was very disrespectful to my mom. Now I'm just in the street. Fuck you, bitch, you can't tell me nothing. Do whatever you're gonna do. She did it her way. My mother put up her house for both of my brothers, bailed them out the whole nine. Every time I went to jail, I had to go and I had to stay in that motherfucker. And that made me like, okay, cool. But when I went to prison, I get it. I'm listening to these old cats talk about that's all you do. And I gave her props. I just, it took time, but whenever she called me, I was there. You know, I felt I owed her for being so disrespectful to her, treating her like I treated females in the street. And I paid for it. I paid for it. I learned how to love her. I took care of her.
Well, I was going to say that's good for you, and that's certainly good for her. Is she still living?
No, she just passed away in 2018. Cancer. The last 2 years of her life, I left my wife. I went back to Compton, and I took care of my mom for 2 years.
Shout out to you for that. That's certainly not an easy thing, man. I did the same thing with my mom. But here's why I'm going to say that's good for you. It's good for her. I had a homeboy that stayed across the street from my grandparents' house, and this was in '89, man. And it seemed like every day, you know, the spot was around the corner where they hustled at. I was a little young. I'd be on the porch, so to say, or in the yard. And it seemed like he would always leave the house cussing out his mama, like all the time. And my grandmama would sit in the house talking about he needs to stop that, and you know, he wrong for this and that and everything else. Like every time he was heading toward the block, he was cussing her out. And one of the neighborhood boys, man, laid them cats down over there around there. You know what I'm saying? And in the midst of that, he was one of them talkers. And story has it, I wasn't there, nothing like that. You know, the story has it that, you know, they told him, hey, don't look back. And he kept talking and he looked back and they gave him one, bam, to the head. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think he ever had a chance to reconcile with his mom. You understand what I'm saying? So for you to be able to do so, I'm sure that gives you a little bit of peace, that gives you some closure. You understand what I'm saying? To know you were able to be there for 2 years. And again, that's not easy to do that, to take care of a parent. Did you have any other siblings around? So I think you had 5 altogether, right? It was 5 of y'all all together. Any other siblings help out with mom?
And
any of your siblings help out with mom, or was it mostly you that was helping?
Yeah. Both of my sisters were there. My baby brother, he lived on the premises with her too, in the back, but wasn't much of any help. You know, it was solely me. You know, I got my 1-year-old grandson at the time, raising him, and then I had one of Timmy's sons living there too, that he had custody of. So I was feeding everybody. I was cooking for us in the house.
Yeah.
Making sure I had my nephews. If I went in Las Vegas, they would come and take her to her doctor's appointment. Man, I got videos of my grandson, 1.5 years old, pushing grandmama in the wheelchair for her radiation and shit, do all this shit for her cancer. He was a big help. but mainly me and my older sister.
Helping out, man. I think right there, it sounds to me like you set out to be, or by default, just became a better father figure for your. You said your grandson. I don't know if you have sons of your own, but you also said for your nephews. Am I right about that?
Yeah, I have two sons. I didn't play those games with my sons. My sons don't wear earrings, none of that shit. They don't sag their pants. They both went to college. My oldest son, he's taking care of his daughter. She's 17 years old now. He's been taking care of her for 17 years from day one.
Right.
My brother Timmy got 19, 20 kids.
What?
I have a daughter.
Functional.
Yeah, I have a daughter that I raised. I had to take her for 7 years because her mother went to prison, and I took her for 7.5 years. I made a mistake of letting her go back to her mother, and all hell broke loose. My daughter got caught up with the gang shit, and she wound up doing 3.5 years in prison. So this is how I come to get my grandson.
Okay.
They was trying to put him in foster care.
Yeah,
and
in the system.
It ain't like, no, we ain't doing that. And they ran this thing on me, told me I couldn't get him. My little sister got him, and he was with her maybe 2 months. So I got with the people and told them my situation, where I'm at with it in the whole nine. And the dude at the place, he worked with me, and I've had my grandson ever since. He about to be 10 this year. So,
whoa, wow. Yeah, we connect.
Yeah, I truly believe I broke that chain.
Yeah. Mm.
Because as my sons growing up, I missed a lot. Thank God for their mothers. They got good mothers. And it taught me a lot, not really being there. So when I got my grandson, everything that I missed, I'm getting it out of him.
Yeah, right.
And he's making me grow up. He's making me calm. He taught me patience. He taught me how to, man, words don't mean that. And when I say he taught me that, because there was days when I wanted to give up and just go on just smash, just to prove who I am. Nigga, don't play with me type shit. Yeah, and I look at him, I turn around, sit down, and I'm good. So my grandson taught me how to control myself. And that's a big factor of where I'm at today. It's one of the main reasons why I'm here today.
Right. Give you something to lock in on and focus on and understand that it ain't just about you no more. You got this little guy that you got to look out for, be there for, and direct him and steer him in the right direction. So, man, I feel it. I'm going to rewind it back, but fast forward at the same time. And let's move up towards like let's talk about like the culture and the crack era, because honestly, you're a little older than me. If you don't mind, you can share your age, but you experienced that. But yeah, go ahead. How old are you now?
I'm 61 in April.
60, praise God. Yeah, see, yeah. So you got me about 9 years. I'll be 53 in July. So yeah, I was safe to assume that you experienced the crack era firsthand, man. Tupac once said in one of his lyrics, and we're gonna talk about Pac in a little bit, but I love what he said, that crack came and it strange how it rocked us. What was that era really like, especially in the LA area or the Compton area, man, with the gangbanging aspect of it, because, you know, all of us dabble in hustling a little bit, but I'm sure there was extra edge when it comes to the, I don't know if it's a color thing or if it's just, again, a neighborhood thing. How did that work out? What was it like for y'all?
Man, when that era came, you had, our neighborhood was tight. And when that shit came in, homies doing each other, homies selling drugs to the mothers, and homies was getting killed. by selling drugs to it fucked up the neighborhood. All the respect and loyalty that we had to each other went out the window when cocaine came to the hood. You had cats selling each other out. You had homies killing homies that made it. It was crazy. And then mobbing through the neighborhood was different because now I see the homie mama standing out there giving head or trying to do whatever she can do to get high. Some of the homies' fathers was out there getting high, and it was crazy. And I got to include myself on this. We didn't have no respect for the parents. After that shit came, knocking out the homeboy daddy, it was just so disrespectful, and our neighborhood fell apart, like every other neighborhood, you know. And it was a bad time for us. Bad time.
Now, why do you think there's so little communication and explanation in our communities about that time, the way you just broke it down? Because most of the time that we hear, it's more glorified as opposed to talking about the actual unity that we used to have that no longer exists.
Anybody that can glorify those times is a clown. He's a fucking clown. If anybody can say that they came out of that era good, outside of making a lot of motherfucking money, but not looking back and seeing how we destroyed each other, what they want to call their communities, what we protected and all this bullshit, is a bunch of crock. Niggas sold each other out for the sack. Like I said, didn't nobody win in them times. We thought we was winning, but we wasn't. And we lost a lot of people in that time because you had a lot of cats in the hood that we ain't never had that kind of money. We ain't never making money like this. Now we are able to buy cars and, you know, your pussy level done went up to here. Some niggas never had them. Now you got this, you the baddest nigga in the hood and you got the baddest chick. That the homie over there didn't like that because he wanted her, and now you got her because you making money. Now you subject to get killed because cats in the hood is mad at you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it was all bad. And if anybody think that they can sit in front of me and say, oh man, it was cracking. No, we all lost. It was terrible. It was bad. And that would change the dynamics of the neighborhood. That's when the neighborhood, you can see it fall. You can see in the homie's eyes that you were best friends with. Because they mama on drugs. They was embarrassed and they felt a certain kind of way. Then the homies is seeing the mama hanging by the schools. She walking, hair tilted to the, you know, and that angered a lot of dudes. A lot of my homeboys, some of them in the penitentiary now because mama fell by the wayside. So ain't nobody walked out of there and still alive today can say it was cracking.
Yeah, and I'm gonna give you a prime example. I was just speaking today with B-Boy and another brother by the name of D and a cat named Jay. You never know who you're gonna be on the phone with when it comes to y'all. As a matter of fact, I just want to share the reason why I met you is because I called B-Boy on his birthday to give him a birthday shout out. And while we was talking and catching up, he said, "Hold on, man, I got Mob James calling me." And then once he merged you onto the line, I recognized your voice immediately. You know what I'm saying? So I just wanted to say that I looked up to you from the first time I heard you on Vlad's show. But back to my example I wanted to give, what I talked about today is And you just said it, that people hate the one that comes out winning, so to speak. And my example is Jay-Z. And what I say is that Jay-Z did what every hustler that I know set out to do, as far as to get in the game, to make a lot of money, to somehow go legit, still stay rich, and have one of the finest women on the planet with your last name. You understand what I'm saying? And if you look now, you hear people say, oh, he's not that good of a rapper, he's not this, he's not that, and everything else. But how can you argue with the success he had? And he's quick to say, I don't want you to, how do you say on the song, I'm not telling you to go sell dope. No, Hov did that, so hopefully you won't have to go back to that. You know what I mean? So you're right. We saw it firsthand in the neighborhood, but that's an example I think everybody could see and identify with. He is the one that I could think of that, you know, they try to put a little slander on his name and everything else, and he's still emerging, you know, scot-free as of now. You know what I mean? So in a way, it's admirable because, like I said, it's all about becoming legit and still being able to live your life. You see what I'm saying? So how did you personally avoid, because this is what I want to say, people of your age group, I'm not going to say they was test done. I'm not going to say that. What I will say is that, like, for instance, when you come to a certain age and that weed joint start getting passed around, you with your buddy, your matter of fact, you just going to go and hit it. Same thing with the Newport, same thing with the Strawberry Bulls Farm, and so forth. So I know that there was an era when, like Too Short said, snorting and puffing, that's the life. You know what I mean? And then he said it's all over when you hit that pipe. So what I'm saying is, without knowing what your history is, and you could share, you know, I'm just asking you to share, how did you avoid getting consumed by it? Let's put it like that. Consumed by it, meaning you didn't do the 30 years in jail. You're not strung out on Skid Row or nothing like that. Did you understand that question?
Yeah. You know what? And when the cocaine came to us, we all tried it. We was all doing the primo. Some of the homeboys are still strung out behind smoking primos or whatever.
What is a primo? Let us know. What is a primo?
Weed and cocaine mixed together.
Okay, all right.
And I was doing it with PCP. Me, I did it in cigarette. I never did marijuana in my life. I didn't like marijuana. Going to prison, I think I was 20 when I went to prison. And I think prison put a stop to it, you know? And we looking at it like we going to the Vermont Drive-In and we got 5, 6, 7 cars in the line and everybody out there getting high and, you know, drinking our beer, our Super Sacco and gin or whatever the case might be. But when I took prison, my first time, I took prison and I looked at prison. The only thing these niggas got in here is a knife. The only thing they doing over here is this. And listening to the older guys, man, I used that right here. I paroled in 1988, never went back to prison. Prison was in Fort Lee. The only thing I can do in that motherfucker is fight or stab a motherfucker. So that was my forte. I ain't got time. Prison wasn't sitting in a room where I couldn't come out. I didn't like that shit. So I never went back to prison. Yeah. When I came home from prison, I fucked up and went back to, let's say, my old ways in 92 and did 8-9 months fighting a case. Once that was over, I haven't seen a jail or nothing else. So I started to learn and understand. I'm getting older. I need to grow the fuck up. Because I had no choice sitting there, like, why the fuck did I whoop this dude and I didn't even have to do that? I wasted another 9 months of my life on moving on and doing me because I went back to my foolish ways. So I said, fuck that. And that's when I started making the shit makes sense. Either you do this, understanding your consequences, the repercussions of what you're doing,
Right.
this is living. So I stayed away from it. And I just learned how to live, and I said, fuck it, let me get married. Let me try something different. Got married and she didn't work out, and I said, there's another one out there, I did it again. And, just trying to make shit work for me to keep me. So that was what saved me. Just opening my eyes and paying attention and shit. And I ain't look back. We were speaking earlier about, when you try to move on with your life, that's where all the criticism and people want to criticize you for moving on. That happened with me with my little brother. Once I denounced or said, I'm not Bob James, called me James McDonald, me and him ain't talk. Well, more power to your homeboy, go and live your life. I'm living mine. I'm not here. Can't nobody dictate my life. And I understand that. So if I'm living this life and you want to be mad, I'm raising my grandkids. If you want to be mad, then be mad. And I mean that for, I don't care who walking this planet, you just gonna be mad. Don't be mad in front of me. That's all I'm saying. If you want to be mad, stay over there where you at and go on your little podcast and talk and say you this, that, or the other.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that.
It sounds like you had that day of reckoning where you got to the point to where you realize, and this is important for a lot of people to understand, that what you don't want. You know what I mean? Where you don't want to be or what you don't want in your life. So you say, okay, it got to be something better. So therefore you start looking for that better as opposed to, been there, done that. Let's see let's go in this way. Get a wife and have my family, raise my grandchild, and so on and so forth. And again, what I was going to say earlier, where we connect, I did the same thing with my son. I raised, my mother helped me. We raised my older son, and then we did a joint custody of my younger son. They just turned 33 and 27, you know what I mean? And neither one of them been in jail. I did everything I could to keep them off that path. Even when we ride and listen to the Lil Waynes and Tupac and so forth, every so often I had to press pause on the tape deck and let them know, Lil Wayne ain't really doing this kind of stuff, and don't y'all get too excited about all that, you know what I mean? And I'm thankful that they had enough ear to listen and not go that route, But on the rap thing, and we're about to transition right here, Exhibit once said he once compared the crack game and the rap game, saying that they operate similarly. Do you agree with that, knowing what you know?
Welcome to Death Row.
I know the rap game, and let me say this. There's some cutthroat motherfuckers all over this planet. I don't care if it's business, or I got a business partner or whatever.
True.
The rap game, what I've seen in rap and these Suge Knights and all these other motherfuckers, they ain't nothing but crooks. They the worstest of our own people. We do, and this is what a lot of cats don't want to take heed and say, yeah, you right. When I start saying we gotta stop killing each other, when Death Row was doing certain things and I said, no, that ain't cool, then I had to take myself out of the equation because it's fucked up.
Let me pause you for just a moment. Let me pause because we could talk about that era, but let's talk about it from like a growth perspective, if you will. When you first connected with Death Row, what drew you in? Was it like an energy thing? Was it the loyalty? Was it opportunity to make money? Like, what drew you in? How did you become connected with it, and what drew you into it?
When I paroled from prison in '88, I paroled to my mom's house. Suge came to my mom's house, 2 days after or whatever, slid through, and I started dealing with him at that time. He came at me with, he doing shit in Vegas and woo woo. So I started working with him on the Budweiser Superfest doing concerts.
The concert, right? All right.
So I'm doing the concerts with him over there with him and Big West. And the concerts went from the concerts to a record label called Fernhill Records. And from there, Death Row. But I mean, me and Suge was cool at one point. I started working with him fresh out of prison. I wasn't finna fuck up and do something that was finna send me back to prison.
You have to. At that time, you didn't have to.
Oh no, we was beating up people. We was pushing motherfuckers around. We was doing all kind of shit. But when it became a little more than what I felt comfortable with, no. So, it's hard to talk about it without just saying what the fuck really going on, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
But it wasn't happy times every goddamn day. It wasn't, everybody was good. It wasn't, it was making the little money that we was making was cool. And then being fresh out of prison, ain't got to depend on nobody. I can buy my own shit. I got comfortable. And I planted my feet. And being around all the superstars, all the rappers and all that shit, it was cool, but I was a gang member. I was living that still in that gang mentality, but I wasn't finna like hanging out with Snoop and them. I can't do that.
Was it because of red and blue thing, or just that just wasn't your thing no more?
No, my job was to get paid by watching and making sure that nobody fuck with those dudes. Kicking it with them like my brother did, drinking and getting high, smoking weed and shit. No, we ain't cool like that. I didn't hang with them like that.
All right, I got you. Did you ever have any tension with Suge at all, or if so, let me ask you that: did you ever have any tension with him at all?
Many times. Many times.
That teach you about power. Okay, give us an example of maybe a little bit of tension that you had with him, and then the question is, what did that teach you about power? The money, power, respect on that line. What did that teach you about it?
I had many issues with Suge. I had many shut your bitch ass up, nigga, bring your ass over here. It was a way of me getting a check without even fucking with him. Catching Suge at a pool party. Oh, you running your mouth, nigga? Bring your bitch ass in the garage, nigga. I'm finna fuck you up. Jay, go. They didn't tell you got a check? A check for what, nigga? Go to the office, I got a check for you. And I wouldn't touch it. I took Dr. Dre 64 shipping. Well, we started off parking it in my driveway at the house, and then I had my mechanic fix it, and then they didn't want to pay my mechanic, which pissed me off. I don't give a fuck about a Dr. Dre nigga. So if any one of y'all want that car, go touch it. I'd have beat the shit out of either one of them. They didn't touch it. So I said, fuck it, it's been here 4-5 months now. I'm out there low riding this big as shit. They come and ask me for the car again. Nigga, do I got a check? I think I got like 4 checks out that nigga, and then I stripped the whole car. Rims, insides, music, everything. I took everything, hydraulics, everything. And then gave them back to Shell. Come get it now.
That was a Let Me Ride Chevy? That was a Let Me Ride Chevy?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, all right. That's what all right.
But yeah,
Oh,
man, many times. I was gonna beat the shit out of Suge. One time we was doing the opening of Death Row. DOC hopped in the limo and took off with him. Then he pulled back up. The homie was ready to do him. I said, no, let me get at this nigga. Nigga, what the fuck wrong with you? That nigga, So I fired on him. Bing, bing. He slid down the limo, right? And then here comes Suge, the broad running Suge. See it, DOC. Who hit? Nigga, I did, bitch. I did. Dog, what you do? So I had a lot of encounters with Suge Knight. He ain't what everybody else think he is. I can tell you that much.
Yeah. Well, there's been some stories about before you go into jail, how he took a few punches and everything, man. But shout out, Big Suge, and also DOC, who and this is after the accident that crushed his vocal cords. I think that's what you were talking about with his voice.
Yeah.
Who DOC quite possibly could have been one of the best rappers. He was Tupac before Tupac, in my opinion, as far as his versatility, his influence, his first album, and everything. I mean, he was on his way. And then to have that car accident, and we could argue that there would be no Dr. Dre or Snoop though without the DOC. So shout out to him. So let me ask you this, man. That's a crazy story. But what year did you personally begin stepping away from the drama side of Death Row?
My actual waking up, I ain't fucking with you niggas no more. April 2002, when my little brother died, was killed.
Wait, okay, 2002, your brother died, and what did you say after that?
That's when he was killed in 2002.
Okay, can you talk about that?
Yeah. Death Row was upside down at the time. All the homies got to fight against each other. Some of the homies took some of the homies for granted, which they all knew that each and every last one of these motherfuckers are capable of whatever. When I went to the hospital and I fucked up and the people let me see my brother because I was fighting the security in there. They let me see him. I go back to the hood, I'm in front of the house, and the homies that I protected, that I went and did shit for, that I fought for, wasn't ready to roll. My girl, my dish. So niggas was at my sister had the corner house, so they over there, I just started kicking niggas in their ass. Right then and there, I knew. I'm fighting for something I don't have no business fighting for. And that's being a power move. I couldn't live that life. I couldn't utter those words because my brother was killed by power moves. And I fight and I live for bitch. And you niggas take my brother? You niggas ain't scared of me? Type shit. I turned around, I walked away, and I never fucked with him since 2002. I couldn't. I've had homies die in my hand. Nothing like my brother. When I lost my brother to what I put my all in, my life in it. And when I lost him, could nobody tell me, Mob James, you gotta be in the hood. Mob James, where you at? And people don't understand. I lost a lot, but I understand what I lost because me and my brothers then was living that life. We was taking life from other motherfuckers, but it's different when it's your people. And all of these things are out of the way, and my only option at this time, this real shit, there go one. That's the homie's son. It was time for me to go. I left.
Yeah.
I'm not killing your kids. I'm not doing that. And that really made me say, I was
that took a lot of restraint too.
Yeah.
And that's your brother Bunky we're talking about now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll just share this. Yeah, I'll just share this, man. When it comes to a situation with the homies, man, two situations that were very similar with different outcomes. First was a relative of mine had got into it with one of his best friends. You know, they argued and everything, and best friend was telling him, go get strapped. You know what I mean? And cuz, he really wasn't no joke, and he did just that. I'm surprised. I personally, I wasn't there, I heard the story. I was personally surprised he didn't have a thing on him, but he did, and he came back. And the other, best friend was like, on some, it ain't that serious. I was kind of kidding stuff. Well, cuz it's like, let him have one, hit him in the arm, just let him know that I don't play like that. You know what I'm saying? So fast forward to a few years later, another one of my little cousins was in a situation where one of the big homies from the block, from the, their neighborhood, was punking him, about a few dollars or something like that. And it wasn't just that he was punking him, but there was a crowd around, and that's what pride and ego kicks in, plus his little bro sitting in the car. I say his girlfriend sitting in the car, but I'm telling the story. It was my first time telling it in a long time. But so not only you got the homies from the hood that's standing around, but baby sitting in the car too, and dude is doing this, so he told the same thing. Well, go get strapped, and big homie went and got strapped. And the way the story goes, when they see each other, little cuz bust first, and then homie bust back, and he hit him in the back of the head and the ear. You know what I mean? And again, I'm not glorifying nothing, but this is the lesson that I personally learned: is you don't tell nobody what you about to do, and let them get ready for it. You know what I'm saying? If I was ever in that situation, which I wouldn't even say if I was, but I'm just saying I would never say nothing. We'll be reading about them in the paper a couple of days later. If you ask me, you know what I'm saying? And I'd be surprised, just as surprised as you is reading about it. Oh man, that's messed up. You know what I'm saying? So I'm saying that to say I understand how that hurt can be. I can't say I understand how you feel, but how many situations have we seen where that infighting, friendly fire kind of thing go off? You know what I'm saying? And most times, I don't know what the situation was with bro and anything like that. That's not what I'm looking for. I'm trying to draw out the lessons of it all. But that's a sensitive issue to deal with. You know what I'm saying? And it puts you in a situation, okay, what am I... There we go. There's the question right there. Looking back on it, man, what did the loyalty mean to you then versus now?
All that was out the window. All that was out the window. Everything that I can reflect on that I've done representing this was a lie. Everything was a lie. Everybody that I grew up with, I looked at them as my enemies. I learned loyalty. It comes with a price. Friendship is not what people think friendship is. Your best friend can turn on you at the drop of a dime. I learned a lot. I had to reflect every day after burying my brother, what not to do, seeing them and had them dead to rights. It just showed me it's time for me to stop. I can't live this life. And I walked in 2002 Ain't uttered Pyru, ain't living that, ain't doing none of that. And, you know, I pray to God that those guys gave me that because I have no other alternative, no other option. If you come at me with it, then we have to be who we are, regardless. And I still stand on that right now. If I'm confronted with that right now today, I only know one thing. I only know one thing to get rid of it.
Mm-hmm. So it sounds like you said you no longer claim Pyru.
No, I don't.
All right, well, man, I'm sorry for your loss, and I just want to be clear too for people that's listening, because obviously, you know, you're a big name in LA, Compton, and all that. When I say cuz, I'm talking about real cousins. When I say that, it's not, you know, again, I'm from the Bay Area. You know, I'm a DJ from the Bay Area. Been doing it for a long time, and we don't have those type of politics. So when I say cuz, James, you know, I'm saying my cousins. Yeah, real cousins.
In my younger days, that means, nigga, who the fuck you talking to type shit. Why the fuck you woo woo? I got my, outside of my Pyru cats that I grew up that really know me and fuck with me today, I got Crips that I fuck with strongly. I'm gonna get up and, nigga, I'm here type shit. So that don't bother me at all. More what I know now and hanging with, I ain't got nothing but mad love for my homies that I call my friends, that I fuck with.
Yeah.
None of that small shit, that dumb shit, that ignorant shit don't bother me no more. And like I said, I lived a lie for a long time, believing that this was my job. I had to eliminate as many as I can before they get rid of me. I was living that life. We was gangbanging. We was out there doing that. I can't be mad. Like I wouldn't be mad if Bunchy was killed by a Crip. Now I can go retaliate and sit here and drink my drink. We got the motherfuckers for you, bro. Woo, woo, woo. But it's totally different when you, like on some in-house shit. And I don't care what neighborhood you in, the homies been killing homies for the longest. But when it reached me, it opened my eyes for a lot of shit. Looking at my moms, my sister and them, the pain in their face. I asked myself, I said, damn, every time I shoot a motherfucker, all these people, everybody is gonna feel what I did to him.
Yeah.
I thought of it like that. And I was like, wow, you hurt one person and thousands could be affected by it.
A real ripple effect.
Yeah. And I had to grow up. I just had to grow up. I had to get away from that. That lifestyle is bullshit. Being a gangster is bullshit. Being that nigga with it is bullshit. Big homie, bullshit. It's all bullshit. But these dudes can still be of age and be on this goddamn social media talking about who they are and I'm gangster, woo, woo, woo. Nigga, none of that shit matter. Gangsters died like they doing today. I don't give a fuck what type of nigga you were.
That's good. That's good.
We gotta really grow up. We gotta grow up and act like men. And like I said, I had things that crossed my path that made me understand. You know, and it's cold because I lost my brother. I lost my mother. I take my grandson. All the things that I had lost got me where I am today. It made me wake up, and it's sad to say. I had to
sound like you. Well, I was gonna say it sounds like you're in a much better place now. So allow me to pivot real fast. On that note, Tupac once said on one of his songs, "Man, I think this really was a good bridge of the gap." when he said, "I don't give a if you blood or cuz, as long as you got love for thugs." Let me ask you this, man. Getting into the Tupac era, man, was he authentic to you?
A lot of people be mad at me about Tupac. When Tupac got shot in New York, Tupac was wearing the blue rag. When Tupac came to Death Row, he stood on business. When Tupac got with my brother and all of them, he walked around more with his chest out. I don't know nothing about Tupac upbringing and all that shit, but being from the hood and all that, no. If Tupac ever got out of line with me, no, he would have had a problem. With Pac and everybody else, to each his own. You can be who you want to be, how you want to be. Just know what lines to cross when you're doing that. He was arrogant at times. He knew he had some real niggas fucking with him, and he was able to maneuver and move the way he wanted to and how he did. I know one thing, he wanted to prove to the homies, the people he was fucking with, that he was with it, or he wanted to be down with it, or however he wanted to put it. But I mean, it is what it is. I believe that Tupac was out of bounds with Orlando. I've said it many times. He stuck his nose in politics, trying to prove to the homies that he with it, and he had nothing to do with what was going on in Compton.
Orlando being you talking about at the MGM the night he was unalive, as we say.
Right. If the homies would have left Tupac to the side, you and should get the fuck out of here.
Right.
Here go the Crips, here go the Bloods, here go the Palos. Both sets in Compton. Go handle y'all business. Whoever go to jail, fuck it. We got him. Tupac had no business fighting that fight. What is business? He might be still out today.
Yeah, I agree with that part. Do you think he was a real one in private then? With the many facets that you just explained to him, do you feel like he was a real one, or was he putting on? Because, some people say it wasn't until Bishop and Juice came along, while other friends of his say, no, he was always like this. Matter of fact, Bishop was actually Tupac. So what would be your take on that?
Well, my whole thing is, Tupac only been with Death Row 9 months. So, and I never really hung around him and kicked it with him like that. So, the people that describe Tupac that know him can give you a better assessment of a man than I can, because I don't know him. All I know is from when he came into our circle. I know him as being a little arrogant motherfucker, and knowing that he's trying to prove to the homies that he belonged here. And the only part of my head was, no, you don't. You don't belong here because, nigga, you ain't spilled no blood in Compton. You don't just come because.
Yeah.
So knowing Tupac, I understood him. I don't know him, but the people that can tell you a story about Tupac, them are the ones that can best describe him better than I can. So I can't judge the brother only by what I know.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite Tupac record?
I ain't mad at you.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Okay.
I ain't mad at you.
Representing change on that right there. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's basically what he talked about. When a change has come. That's basically what he's talking about. Okay. It's amazing how the video foretold his life just about, you know what I mean, as far as him passing away and everything, and rapping heaven or whatnot. That's the unfortunate side of it.
When he got with Death Row, he stayed in the studio.
That's what they say. That's what they say. Yeah. What was your thoughts on California Love, man? I heard you speak on it before, man. I mean, culturally, what did that record represent to you?
You know, California Love, to me, was just another song. But then, you know, a lot of those guys on the shout out and all that. Listen, I'm a Compton nigga. I'm not looking for no rapper, no entertainer to utter my name. The only thing happens with that, when the police and feds get to looking at that shit, every name that he talk of, they gonna write it down. I didn't look for none of that. When I bodyguard Tupac, Snoop Dogg on his murder trial, I wasn't trying to be in no damn cameras and none of that shit. I wasn't trying to do that. I stood my ground. If the Crips came up there, then the Crips gonna see me and my crew. That was the only thing that mattered to me. I wasn't up there trying to be in the court and hanging out with Snoop. Met him at the elevator. Him and his dad then walked to the limo. Once they drove off, we drove the fuck off. I ain't come up here to kick it with y'all. I didn't. It wasn't that part of it wasn't for me. So I kept it straight business.
Right. Yeah, I feel it.
Yeah, so Snoop can tell you, Dr. Dre can tell you, DOC can tell you, it was strictly business. Nigga, you out of line, you gonna get checked. You gonna get checked. And that's Suge. From Suge on down to whoever thinks Suge was that nigga. Stand in line, bitch. I got you.
Yeah. Wow. Well, there are a lot of theories, man, from around that time. And let me ask you this: from your perspective, what do people misunderstand the most about that era?
What about Death Row Records?
Yeah, just the Death Row era in general. You talked about a misconception of Suge, in your opinion. You talked a little bit about Pop. I'm not sure what Snoop's demeanor was or whatnot. You know what I mean? But yeah, just from that, what's maybe there's a big misunderstanding about Death Row as a conglomerate or as an entity or the way things was. I know you heard the stories about, or you've heard people tell stories about a big room with a logo on the floor and anything goes and everybody, whoever was out of line got served, that kind of stuff. At least those are stories I've heard. You know what I mean?
Touch the red phone, you're getting your ass whooped. If you went in the red room and wasn't supposed to be in there, you got your ass whooped. If you bring somebody in there that ain't supposed to be there, you got your ass whooped. If you spoke on Death Row and came and lollygagging and this, you got your ass whooped. A lot of those guys, and what I didn't like was a lot of those guys, like meaning Nate Dogg and all them dudes, they were on pins and needles. Because if Suge came in there with a hair up his ass and felt a certain kind of way, people got touched because of that. And
you having a bad day.
Yeah, you know, and you know, Suge is one that I say had all the power in the world. But Suge never had power, so he didn't know what he had and he misused it in a real fucked up way. Meaning, Suge thought he was just gonna run these gangbangers, these penitentiary niggas, and just have his way with it. These men think like men too. I don't give a fuck if they're gangbangers or not, the scum of the earth. I wouldn't give a fuck. We know how to think. When he seen how everybody got used to him, like myself, and I don't have to work for you, all I have to do is threaten you to get paid. I ain't got time for the nonsense. Shut the fuck up, Suge. Come to the hood, I'm gonna beat your ass. Go to the office, get a check, or I get a phone call, it's a check up here for you. I didn't have to fuck with it. And then when everybody else followed that movement, Rock Chisholm. Nigga, I'm gonna beat your ass and I'm gonna kill your dogs. How much you want? It was easier to put him out there than go work and beat up on people. You feel me? So I did it that way. But Suge had all the power in the world and didn't know how to regulate that shit in a real way. You know, he wanted all the money. He broke the homies off. And where we fucked up at was we wasn't looking for the bag, like the bag. Like he was paying motherfuckers, like he paid Big U 80 grand. Why you giving other people money like that and ain't looking out for the motherfuckers that got your back? We beat up a couple of the cats from the Rams football team because the nigga scratched his porch. Nigga, that nigga carved with a knife on your shit and you hollered for us? And we beat these motherfuckers' ass because you didn't handle your business? So that type of shit, when everybody starts seeing Suge for who Suge was, it got bad for Suge. It got real bad for him. And people on the outside looking in, for number one, a lot of people, they don't like nothing that's going on positive. Everybody want to hear about the bullshit. Everybody wants the bullshit. They glamorize the bullshit opposed to saying, okay, this man, that's good. Oh, that they don't want to hear that good shit. They want to hear the bullshit. So when people stop looking at and start paying attention to what they see on social media and all these dudes, I ain't never seen so many underdogs. I ain't never seen so many, everybody gotta be a gangster, you feel me? You been in the hood, everybody ain't gangster. I don't give a fuck what comes out of his mouth. Everybody ain't gangster.
No.
And if you're of age, you should be ready to tell that youngster in the neighborhood, take your ass to school. You don't need to be out here and do what I do. You don't need to live a Mob James life. Everybody ain't cut that way. Everybody ain't ready for that. But this is what people want to hear. This is what people want to see. Self-destruction. I done destroyed too much. I'm tired. I can't do it no more. And I don't give a fuck what people see or how they think of me. Feel me? Yeah. And I think everybody should start living like that. That's the only way we're going to get better.
I'm sure glad you took it that way, because I was going to ask you, at what point did that life get old to you? Was it in 2002 or was it before that?
No. Well, before 2002, mind you, when I got out of prison, I was good. I fell back into the bullshit in 92. After I got out of jail in 92, I'm cool. I'm living with my wife in Las Vegas. I'm in Vegas. And I'm doing something totally different. Cut my hair. You know, I'm the bald head guy. I'm working. You know, I got a real job. I'm doing me. And I come to Cali. My granddaddy doing plumbing, and I'm over there under the house helping him. Then I get the call that my brother was shot. Wow. So I took that as I can't live right. I can't live right. I have to be, I have to stay who I am. I have to stay dedicated and to the ground with Mob James. That's the only person that these motherfuckers out here identify with. And I was totally wrong. I didn't have to be Mob James. But if you choose to fall back in that bag, then this is what you're going to get. And I've seen it clear. My grandfather, if that's the life you want to live, go back and do what you do. The outcome ain't going to be what you think, but if that's what you want to do, and go do what you're going to do. Basically, handle your business. And
Right.
just listening to him and my grandfather crying, he didn't want me back in that life. He didn't want me back. And just all those little things.
Don't do it.
2002, I woke up, I'm done. 2018, I'm really good. I'm comfortable. I'm taking care of my family. I don't need that dumb shit. And now, if I'd have went backwards then, I wouldn't have seen my grandson at 9. I wouldn't have seen him at 9. I won't see him. He'll be 10 this year. So I got a lot of shit to be thankful for, and I give myself credit because I didn't allow the street to put me back in the street.
How hard was it to walk away? How hard was it to walk away from it?
It was very hard because every day you walk out the door, I don't care where you at, you're tempted. If you go on social media had me so fired up with pussy ass niggas running their mouth and knowing you ain't gonna talk like that in my presence. But hey, if a nigga can do a podcast show in his bathroom and he's safe, say what the fuck you gonna say. I'm cool with that. So instead of going to catch these cats or nigga come whoop whoop whoop, keep your composure. Be the man you say you are. Nigga, whatever you talk about don't bother me. I'm doing me. And now that I get it, they can't distract me from being who I am, how I'm living. I'm a grown ass man, and I really feel like I'm a grown ass man living my life in a real way, in a positive way, opposed to making everybody smile with the bullshit that I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? So I'm in a good place.
Now, this is. I think this is a good question, and I ain't gonna say take your time and answer it, but I don't think I've ever asked anybody this question before. What do you say to young men who get called a sucker for not being with it?
Right nowadays, and a lot of that had to do with me. Oh, you on some bullshit, they gonna think you a punk. I tell that young man, know who you are. Understand you. Nobody can put a title on you that you don't hold and you know you're not that. Don't let words take you somewhere you don't need to be. Don't let words end your life. So call me a sucker, call me a bitch ass nigga. I'm still alive, I'm living my life, I'm doing me. At the end of the day, you the right motherfucker that calling me that. Pay attention to yourself. Understand, love, and learn you. If I didn't do that, I wouldn't be where I'm at. Words don't mean shit. Especially if you're growing up and you're trying to be an adult. You're trying to be a man. You're trying to live your life. The one that called you that, that's who you stay away from. That's what you stay away from. And, you know, that's what I tell them, man. You know, if you know yourself, you ain't got to worry about it. No other man can validate you. Nobody.
Yeah. I'm sure glad you said that. Like I said, I've never asked anyone that question before. My philosophy on that has always been, you can call me what you want to, but you can call me tomorrow. Like, you can literally get on the phone, you can call me tomorrow, though. You know what I mean? I'm not going to put myself in a situation. I think there's a lot of suckers in the penitentiary or whatnot because the peer pressure put them there in certain situations. You see what I'm saying? And in Rolling Hills, that's our cemetery, but you know what I'm saying? They're in the cemetery for that very same reason. But that's the way I felt. You essentially said the same thing.
Right. You know, and a lot of us, and that's one of the biggest problems with young black men today. We are quick to destroy each other. We want to fight each other. The next thing is we're going to kill. What I do, motherfuckers say something about me, I get on the phone, get a line on it. Let me holler at it. Say what you're gonna
real.
say. Don't do that though.
Yeah, that's
My
real.
nephews, don't let nothing in the street make you feel like you gotta be that dude. Who was the dude that said it? Who said that? Come on, man. That cat? You know what I'm saying? You know,
Yeah.
and I try to tell them, man, all the time. You know, you gotta live your life. You can't live your uncle's life, your daddy's life, none of that shit. You gotta live your life. But first and foremost, you gotta pay attention to what the street gonna give you. If you go out there looking for it, it's gonna come.
Yeah, it's gonna be there.
The streets ain't lost yet.
You're not alive.
Man, it's a lot of brothers that are lucky to be alive. I've been shot on 4 different occasions.
Oh wow!
And I look at that as a blessing because I could have been killed when I got shot right here in the back, right by the nutsack, with a shotgun, the whole 9. I could have lost my life. Yeah, the shootouts, all that shit. You know, we done had some homies die with a pistol right there on their hip. So, man, if it's your day, you gonna come home. If not, you didn't make it.
Yeah. Well, James, man. According to you, you're no longer in the gang culture, right? But you are in the motorcycle world now, if I'm not mistaken. What's the difference between the two? Explain it to me like I'm a civilian.
If you want to come to the motorcycle set and leave the neighborhood, one thing the motorcycle set taught me when I went to the motorcycle set was that there's no gang banging shit here. It's a patch. You represent that patch. On the motorcycle set, a lot of gang members from all different neighborhoods are going to the motorcycle set. It's a lot of women drinking, kicking it, hanging out, going places. It teaches you a different way to move around. But the bike set got gang banging in it. The bike set has all the elements of street shit, especially with 1%ers and all that shit. They live that life. And motherfuckers are losing their life on the bike set, you know, behind that bench. So, you know, would I recommend a motherfucker going to the bike set?
No.
No. Fortunate for me, I walked away. After knowing that I'm living this way and I'm acting like a goddamn thug on the bike set, riding my motorcycle with 2 pistols. What's the goddamn difference? And then I got my grandson. Yeah, same shit. And when I got my grandson, I quit drinking. I didn't drink for I don't know how long. I quit everything. Walked away from the shit. My motorcycle sit in the garage.
Yeah. I did the same thing when I got a hold of my son too. I smoked big weed, and once he came around, because my mother smoked weed and her boyfriend, you know, and everything. And so once he came around, I stopped because no matter what she told me, then my dad on his side of the world smoked weed too. So no matter what they told me, y'all are doing it. So I did it. So when I saw my son, he was 2 years old, man, I prayed about it, and the Lord put me in the car with a dude who became my best friend. He died a few years ago from health complications and everything, at a young age too. But that's what the prayer did. I had to get away from the homeboys that was smoking a lot of weed if I didn't want to smoke no more. You know what I'm saying? So that was the route that I took. So with you on your journey for peace, that's the route you took. It's just to just leave it alone, because you basically started to see the same thing on the motorcycle set that you saw in the street. Yeah. Well, what is Compton like today? Oh, go ahead.
Drinking every day, riding that motorcycle from Vegas to Denver, going to Arizona, just doing different shit. I was down there, I was taking care of myself. I didn't focus on my family. The bike set changed everything. Being married on the bike set, if you didn't know how to do the bike set, and then your wife, your family, then you're gonna lose everything. And you know, you have to go through it to get it, to understand it. But when my grandson came, I had to be a certain kind of way. I couldn't be drinking and fucked up or putting him on no motorcycle, none of that shit. He too little. I set my ass down and I walked away from it. Matter of fact, I just left Vegas at a motorcycle function. You know, I still fuck with my people, but
Right.
a patch, I don't need that to ride a motorcycle.
Nah. Yeah. So yeah. So the question was now, man, what is Compton like today compared to then, compared to back in the day?
I don't know. I've been to Compton one time. After my mother passed in 18, I had no reason to go back to Compton. Nothing in Compton for me. I have no reason to go to Compton.
Yeah. And in order to change yourself, you definitely want to change your environment. So I ain't mad at you on that one.
Right.
Well, we get ready to close it out, man. But I just want to say now, you know, stop me if you know again if I go off the track. But there's a lot of conversation around influence, even with people like a Charleston White, for instance, man. Is there any truth to the idea that as far as what he said, that gang culture shaped that it shaped more damage than the people that admit, that it caused more damage than people admit?
There's a lot of truth to it, but if Charleston White ain't lived that, then Charleston White is only going off of what was told to him.
That's a different perspective.
Yeah, a lot of people, a lot of black men have lost their lives gangbanging. Yes, it has taken its toll on us as a whole.
The people, yeah.
Yeah, so there's a lot of gang members that are coming out of that, and that's how we are able to sit in one room and kick it. A Paru, a Crip, a Blood. The older guys are getting it, but the older guys are not showing the younger guys where it's wrong. This shit we doing is wrong. We ain't doing nothing but killing each other. And the cold thing about it, how I try to explain to him, why the fuck y'all get mad at this goddamn police officer that killed one of the homies, and you'll put your gun down. You'll go on a high-speed chase instead of shoot out with their motherfucking ass. You just killed a nigga.
They can't explain it. They can't answer that.
No, they can't. Why are we scared of the police in some real shit? Why is we not in the neighborhood showing the homies and telling the homies, this ain't, we're not getting nowhere. And it's going to get worse because these little kids coming off the porch believing that I'm going to do what the homie doing. I got to be like them. I got to do this. I got to smoke weed. No, you don't.
And be yourself. If
I got
what you want to do.
I got two sons that tell you different. And their daddy was all about that. All about that.
From multiple sources. Yeah.
I got two black men that you wouldn't believe it.
They not with it at all.
None of that.
That's
got jobs. My son, my oldest son, 40, he been working since he was 19. Same job. My youngest
I commend him for that.
My youngest son, Jalen, 27, and he's in Texas. He's a one of them computer tech motherfuckers, smart ass nigga, making good money in Texas.
Backed up for sure. Yeah.
I don't have to go to sleep and worry about my boys.
Great feeling.
Because I knew I'd be right. Kick your ass, but catch you like that. Don't do that. I never smoked. I never drank. I'm your father. I'm not your friend. And we Now, have you, my oldest son, drink in my presence? Yeah, you're a grown ass man. But father, it's me and him. Come on, let's go get a bottle and let's kick it.
I never understood that. I never did that. I said.
All his sons are from the neighborhood. All of them smoke weed. They sit back and kick it and smoke weed all day, even with his daughters. That's not a father. It's not a parent. And I knew living a fucked up life, being what I was, I love my kids more than that. And, you know, it just shows the difference on what level some of us as black men are on. Some of us on a fucked up page. And
unfortunately, it's not till too late that they realize that. But I got one more question about Charleston, and it's not about him per se, but I know I remember seeing he challenged you that you hadn't changed. What would you say to him now?
Look at me now. See, it's funny because Charleston knew what he was doing. Charleston tried to get up under my skin. Charleston is one of those cats that want to prove a point.
Right.
Charleston realized what he was in front of. That clicked in that nigga head. Oh, I need to leave this motherfucker alone. And I gave him an option. All he had to do is say he wanted it. Just tell me you want it. And I'd have fixed that point. I ain't gonna tell him that and then just say, oh nigga, no you don't. I got a plan B. I was ready for Charleston, but see, Charleston came to California and got up under these guys, and these guys was teaching him, and Charleston White absorbed everything that was told to him by all these guys. And he truly believed that shit. This is why Charleston can talk the way he talk. As if he think he know what the fuck is going on. But with me, and I had an interview with him before the interview that we had this incident. I gave him a background. I let him understand. You know, when you talk about dead people or the homies that's dead, that's gonna fuck up a lot of niggas. I take it personal. My brother is dead. I take it personal of the things that I've done in my life. So who are you to say, fuck this nigga and that nigga, and you don't know nobody you speaking on? You just this internet nigga.
Yeah.
People taught Charleston White that you can't go on there and be this good guy helping kids. You can't be this good guy and say, I love my wife. Don't nobody want to hear Charleston White. So now Charleston White whole platform turned into, nigga, fuck you, nigga, you. When he did that to me, I knew exactly what he was doing because they started saying, you knew what you was doing. Charleston, stop. You finna get this, that, or the other. And it clicked, and I just turned around and sat down. But he almost made me a believer. Because I was that good, breaking that little motherfucker in. And he liked this, and he couldn't look at me really. You had to be there to see it. And I've seen fear in a whole lot of motherfuckers' eyes with that pistol. He was scared. So you don't get no points for beating up a weenie ass nigga. You don't get
You made your point, man, with that, because I was just gonna say it just seemed like he was just going for clicks, man. That's really what it was. You know, he know how to get that attention on himself, man, for sure. But my saying is this, man.
Right. That's what all these dudes doing on the internet.
Yeah,
Everybody talking about everybody.
well, hopefully anybody that sees this will understand it. I'm about the authenticity. Like I gotta say the word right. But you know, and the reason why I come at this angle is because it's from the heart. And one of the things I first saw in you was a man who was, dare I say, repentant. You know what I mean? And having walked the path and knowing who I was when I was out there, um, you know, there came a time where I did an about face as well. You know what I'm saying? So I kind of know what it looked like when you come to that crossroad. You know, and like I said, when I first heard you talking about it, I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, you know, nobody never lived that, lived the era quite like you did. You know what I mean? You had access to that few people had. You know, and when you think about that time, man, let me ask you, what did you miss most about it, and what are you most grateful that you survived about, or what do you miss the most, and what are you most grateful that you survived? That's it.
I had a lot of good times. Not being on no fuck shit. I had a lot of good times. Some
Right.
things that I've done I wouldn't take back. A lot of the things I've done I would. But I've had good times. But you know, I don't look at the past. I don't reminisce on it no more. I'm strictly on the future. Man, let me tell you something. This I wouldn't and now one of my homies can say they ever heard me use the word God in a sentence. I would never use the word God in front of the homies because to me, I believed it was a sign of weakness. I thought it was that. It was a God-fearing woman. It's not until now that I can get up on a Sunday and sit down and listen to my gospel music. If these dudes can feel what I feel today without going back, because if I keep living my past, I can't grow because my past killed me. I use the word God. I say, thank you, Jesus. I pray over my food. I thank God for giving me this, that, and the other, my blessings. I wouldn't do that 20, 30 years ago. I didn't. Now I am so full of, thanking God for allowing me to be where I'm at today. For me to really understand what loving somebody means.
Yeah.
It's crazy, but like your listeners, your viewers, just understand that coming out of a dark place, going through the things that I went through in life, and there's a whole lot of brothers out there who live the same way I did. Some made different choices, but I wanted to be reckless. I wanted to be, and people to see me being reckless. To be where I'm at now, I'm not in a dark place.
Right.
I'm happy.
Right. Yeah. Right.
I'm thankful.
Right.
And if brothers can get to this place,
Man.
we good.
Yeah. I've said it before. I said the best hood I've ever been a part of is fatherhood. And it's because I had my boys, I wanted to be in their life. So I definitely had to make some different decisions. And it wasn't like that in the beginning. I was married to my youngest son's mom. And it was during a time where, I would take my vacation as well, and so she gave birth to him when I was away. And when I came home, and, I wanted to make it right. And we got married and everything. But I got closer to God while I was in there. And let's make it clear that scriptures say that God is not to be mocked. And I remember one of my homeboys who I knew from, our elementary days. I remember him going to court. I seen him pray before he rode to go to court, came back, talk about, man, it feels good to be a gangster. And about 2 weeks later, he got released that night. About 2 weeks later, he had maybe 2 months later, something like that. Police kicked in the door, man, and they thought it was robbers, but they started shooting. And I don't know if he ever came home after that. You know what I'm saying? For that case, you know what I mean? But as for
Right.
me, I know I was praying as well when I was in there. And what's crazy is I was around a bunch of other guys, you know, it was open dorm, and I would pray at night because I knew where my peace came from. I knew what my situation was and everything else. And he made a way. So the crazy part was when I first came home, my ex-wife didn't never see me pray. You know, she'd be still downstairs watching TV. I go to bed and I pray before I go to sleep, or vice versa. She go to bed and I'm downstairs watching TV and I pray. You know what I'm saying? But maybe if we had done it together, it probably would have been something different. But here's the whole thing about it. The reason why I'm sharing the story is because we should not be ashamed of the gospel in our relationship with the Lord. Now, her and I, we're talking about 25 plus years later, and we co-parent our son pretty well with God's help. I'll say that. And we pray with him all the time on the phone now. You know, we live in 3 different parts of the country. We pray all the time with him because he travels a lot, you know. And that's amazing, the change that has come. You know what I'm saying? So here's my saying. Here's my saying. I know you want to, but my saying is this: time will either promote or expose everybody. Eventually, time will promote or expose whatever it is you got on. And you know, Scripture says if anyone is in Christ, he's a new creation. You know, the old passes away. When you hear that, man, what does that mean to you personally?
I mean, it's real. Wow. I truly believe that anybody that think that they're not going to be tested on their wicked ways, whom they are, the way they walk, the way they talk, the way they treat people. I mean, you know, God tell you, love your neighbors. And your neighbor don't have to be the one next door. That's everybody that walks amongst you, right?
Right.
So,
Right.
I have to understand the fact that, okay, if I want to be this way, I have to understand it. I got to understand it. I have to, the only thing I haven't done yet is get into church. But I truly believe that, man, if we don't get ourselves together and draw ourselves closer to God, then we fight a losing battle. And I can still thank you, Jesus, all day for everything that I've got, what I've accomplished, and where I'm at today. And I couldn't have got here without the blessings of God. He could have took me from here a long time ago. He could have imprisoned me for life a long time ago. But I have something in store for you. So I believe everything that I went through in my lifetime prepared me for today. Prepared me for today. I truly believe that. The only problem is I tell people, don't wait till you in your 40s and 50s and say, if I know what I know now, I would have been a better person. No, you don't have to do it like that. You can learn that 17, 18, 20, and be a better person. It don't take much to be a better person.
That's real. That's real.
You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, if you had to summarize, man, your biggest lesson from life in one sentence, what would it be?
Yeah.
That's deeper than your last statement.
The pain that death has is cold. I'm gonna say this: you can go and kill how many people you want to, in the most room. You can go. When you experience it offhand, something that's real close to you, you're gonna understand. Death is a motherfucker. I lost a lot, but now that knowing this, I pray for those that I think that fell victim to me. I ask God to forgive me. I tell him all the time, I know I can't bring nothing I've done back. Nothing I've done back. So that's why I'm on the path. I want to help. I want to, let me talk to him. Let me talk to her. Let me tell them that they don't want to live this life. This life will consume you and then kill you. So I say death. Death has taught me a lot. Paying attention and seeing it from both sides. I'm telling you, my mother, the pain I saw in my mother's eyes when my brother died fucked me up. Like, damn, for real? I know I'm hurting. Well, it took everything out of it. Everything. It was
like
like
my mothers and fathers and grandmothers and grandfathers had to deal with the same thing for, from the years that we talked about just over the years.
It didn't just affect my mother. That's what killed me, because all the friends and families, cousins, nieces, nephews, it affects everybody. And everybody was hurting for that one life. Life is precious. Thank God I'm here in the name of Jesus. But man, it's a cold, we gotta think. We gotta start using our heads. We need to start paying attention to the bigger picture. If we don't, we are called the walking dead. That's all we are. My eyes is wide open. I pay attention. I see it. And I'm not going to get caught slipping. I understand it. I understand it. But we got to understand what death is. It plays a big role in this shit we call life.
That's right. Well, James, I want to thank you, man, for your time. And this is one of the most serious conversations I've had. It's not even about like, comment, and subscribe and everything. If you notice, I haven't said that. But I just want to encourage anybody who make it this far into the video, man. First of all, I applaud anybody who took the time to listen. And I just want to say to you, man, according to the scriptures, man, the God that I serve, being Jesus Christ, man, says that he's quick when we confess our sins, he's quick to forgive, and he will do so. And I just want to encourage you, and again, anybody listening, man, that it's nothing like having a great church home. There's another scripture, and I wouldn't intend to be preachy or nothing, but I just think it's just apropos for the conversation to close that the scripture says that we should forsake the assembly. You know what I mean? And guess what? When you get there, you might see some of the same stuff that you saw in the streets, but the main thing is to be a part of the better fellowship and to get under a pastor who you make sure that he's preaching and teaching that word. We don't care too much about what he's doing now. If he's in some open sin and all that kind of stuff, I'm not a fan of, a pastor having a husband, all that kind of stuff. I'm not a fan of that. I personally wouldn't sit in him. But what I'm saying is, if we understand that we're all human and he's preaching and teaching a word that you can hear, take a few notes, go home and read it for yourself, and you see he's on it, then hey, you're in a win-win situation, because all we want to do is get closer to God. And that's a good way to do so. You know what I mean? We're like-minded individuals. Just like going to college, man. When my youngest son went to an HBCU, I didn't realize all those years what HBCU meant to when I was on the phone with him and I kept hearing the voice in the background. I said, is all them kids black? And he said, yeah, Dad, it's an HBCU. Like, that's what it is. And I just thought that was just the most awesome thing, to be able to go to school with a bunch of people your age, your peers, trying to do the same thing, and it's such as life with a church. You find a good church home, you go in there with a bunch of people who are just as sick as you, got their own problems and hang-ups as well, but at least we're trying to get better. You understand what I'm saying? So hopefully that analogy hits home for whoever. Is there anything else you want to say? I know you got Gangsta Chronicle. You still do that podcast, Gangsta Chronicles?
No.
Okay.
I'm just basically doing me. And
right.
I'm getting my shit back going, and my podcast can't be talking about this person, that person. Half of these cats I don't know him to be talking about him, so I'm not doing what the person's doing, talking about this cat, breaking this cat down, woo woo. Miss me with all that. So I'm just on some positive, you know, shit right now, and I'm gonna try to get it to where I can put it out there and people understand it. Not, you know, it's bigger and better things to do. So I'm good, bro. I appreciate you bringing me on here, and hope your viewers understand the word instead of listening or taking certain things out and saying woo woo. Just pay attention to the music.
That's right. That's right. Well, James, we're gonna close it out right here, man. Thanks again for your time. Thanks for being a good brother that you are, man. And I wish you continue life, especially for your grandson and everything, man. And raise him up, man, just like you did with your sons. You know what I'm saying? And whoever else coming to your path, bro.
Time, man. God bless you and your people. 100.
God bless you. 100, man. Until the next time. Talk to you soon.
I'm John.
Well, there it is, y'all. Bottom line, it's good to be good. It's better to get better. And together we could definitely do so. Real people with real problems, real dilemmas, real conversations, real talk, real solutions, all that good stuff. Take care, and as always, God bless.
I'm a soldier in the struggle, dilemma of a good one. Trying to read the signs while I'm moving with the hood one. Scripture in my ear, feel the weight of the test. But the streets pull me back, Lord grant me rest. Matthew told me pray, Romans keep me strong. Dilemma of a good one, trying to right these wrongs. Temptation in the mirror, spirit in the sky. I'm a good one in the battle, never let the faith die. This dilemma of a good one, walking that fine line. Faith in my heart, but the struggle on my mind. I'm the dilemma of a good one, standing in the light between the pulpit and the block, trying to do right. Dilemma of a good one, hold on to the truth. From the block to the booth, trying to find my proof. Dilemma of a good one, walking with the saints. Even when I stumble, never showing no complaints. So, rolling through the bay, dilemma of a good one. Gospel in my speakers, never backing from the front. Ephesians on my mind, trying to keep my spirit up. Proverbs in the chamber when the game get tough. Matthew 7 in my pocket, wolves trying to bite. But the good one in the hustle, moving righteous in the night. DJ cut the beat, bring it back, scratch it raw. Dilemma of a good one, scripture in my draw. Dilemma of a good one, faith on my tongue. The land we are so holy, where the real get it done. I'm a bishop in the trenches, watch me speak in these flows. Scripture mixed with hustle, yeah, the good one never falls. It's the dilemma of a good one, like a prayer in the mist. Trying to dodge a serpent's hiss, keep my spirit legit. I'm the good one in the battle, never fade. In the cuts, bay, lingo when Bible talk, never switching up. This dilemma of a good one, walking that fine line. Faith in my heart, but the struggle on my mind. I'm the dilemma of a good one, standing in the light between the pulpit and the block, trying to do right. Yeah. Dilemma of a good one, dilemma of a good one. Dilemma of a good one, dilemma of a good one. Dilemma of a good one. From the concrete to the pew, Bay Area stand up, spirit strong, never lose. DjRon in the mix, keep it holy in the groove. Dilemma of a good one, it's for the chosen few. Dilemma of a good one, dilemma of a good one. Dilemma of a good one, dilemma of a good one. Dilemma of a good one, dilemma of a good one. Dilemma of a good one, dilemma of a good one.